Hello, hello. Good evening, good morning. Today we have a special call with my friend Maor. He is one of the most experienced media buyers you will ever see. He's one of the most advanced, media buyers, direct response advertisers. He's spending $200,000 a day to profitably grow his business. He's been in space for a very long time, and he also will be joining us at Elite Mastermind. He's one of the probably the most frequent speaker at affiliate world events, like massive event that's happening every year a few times. One of the best places to network, to learn what's working, and he's been speaking at that event for the last like 5-6 years. He's advertising on Google. He's advertising on TikTok, he's advertising on Facebook, he's advertising on all of the platforms, and he's very experienced media buyer. So we'll have conversation with him. We'll learn what's working right now in 2024. Some of the tactics, some of the strategies that are working that allow him to spend $200,000 a day on ads. Just before we get started, before Maor will join me here, please just drop in the chat. Drop one in the chat if you can hear me okay. And Maor, my man, can you hear me?
Hello. Yeah, of course I can hear you. Wait, let me fix my thing because I see the frame here is a bit. Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me okay, right?
Yeah, I can hear you perfect.
Awesome. I gave everyone brief introduction to your background. Your background is like you're a savage, basically, in very like few words. You're a savage. You've been in advertising, like marketing, affiliate marketing, e-commerce for how many years now?
Wow. I think 14 by now.
14 years.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Back when Facebook still the pixel it was called OCPM, optimized CPM back then.
Oh
I think
wow.
that was like 12 years ago. Yeah.
That's crazy. And so you've been through all of the waves, you've seen all the changes in these advertising platforms. And today we'll talk about what's working right now. Obviously many things have changed since then. And you've been on
Yeah.
top of the industry. You've seen what's working, you see what's working right now. You're proficient with multiple platforms like TikTok, Google, Facebook. And yeah, I just want to learn from you and share with an audience what's working right now.
Yeah, so first of all, I just want to share that I just found out that my fiance is a stalker just before, because and I gotta tell you, so I told her, okay, is this frame okay? What do you think? And she said, oh, Alex has a class Azul as well, so you should do that. So I was like, how do you know Alex? So she's been stalking you or me or I don't know what. So I just wanted that was like 20 seconds before we started this, so it was funny. Um, so yeah, what was the question again?
Yeah, so kind of like what's I mean let's start with kind of, because I always like to see the context of things and the bigger picture. It's like, so
Yeah.
you've been in like advertising, affiliate marketing, you've done tremendous numbers. And so what's kind of the trajectory and what are the major trends that they're seeing, let's say now compared to like 5 years ago or 10 years ago, where like all of the advertising platforms are moving from your perspective?
Um, so in terms of the advertising platforms, I think they're moving in a much more automated route. Okay, so they're pushing into it, they're moving into AI, and this is why we see since the Facebook outage in February, we see a lot of fluctuations and a big, just like Facebook being extremely volatile. So we see that they're trying to basically rebuild their algorithm. The good news is that historically, and this is also official news from Facebook, historically, they do not touch the algorithm in Q4. So in a month and a half, whatever results you're seeing, it's likely to stay stable. So if something works or doesn't work, it's going to be up to you. Right now, people are still waiting on how the algorithm is going to change and stuff like that. So This is the first change that I see, the AI modules and the stuff that they are testing. The other things is the way I see it, as a media buyer, you're gonna need to be a lot more creative than you are right now. So if you have, in the past, we could have scraped some Facebook groups and used emails, and the account structure really mattered a lot. Nowadays, it's just like 18, 25, 35 plus, very wide and stuff like that. So you're gonna have to be a lot more creative in terms of how you can make changes to the account, stuff that's I always like to think, and in general, I think that Israelis are growth hackers, but this is definitely what keeps me afloat. Is I always look at whatever others are doing and how I can do something that's different to drive other results. So, for example, on Facebook, I know that 99% of people are running highest cost. They do not change the placements. They do not change the types of audiences, or like the moderated, or how wide the audience is, the block lists and stuff like that. So these are the stuff that I'm trying to play with right now, just for example. Google is moving into a more interesting route as well, because on one hand, you see kind of like a black box networks and types of campaigns like Performance Max and these kinds of campaigns where it's really shopping campaign, a black box. You don't have lots of places where you can bring in creativity. And these are the types of products that are built mostly for SMB, small, medium businesses, people who do not have a large or good marketing agency, people who just want to, they have a few thousand or a few $100, they want to spend it. So these are the kind of products. So it's going to be very different from if you are a professional going forward, and what tools and how you can manipulate the system, not in a bad black hat way, but really use whatever the system has to offer. So like in Budapest, one of the things, I'm not going to share everything, of course, because it's a very long presentation, but one of the very basic, simple things that people are missing, which is really money on the floor. When I audit accounts, I see that like, for example, people are running and they spend 10, 20, $30,000 throughout a period of time. And then they have some data. For example, they're running US, so they have the states that are working better and the states that are extremely underperforming. And usually what happens is that Google likes to push traffic into like the top states in terms of volume. So Ohio, Florida, California, Texas, these kinds of states. And they're not using that type of data. So just by opening up a campaign, even sometimes with the same creatives, same settings, everything, and just removing the bottom 50%, leaving the top 15, 20, 25%, is just like an increase in EPV, EPC, whatever you want to call it. And that's just like something that I haven't seen people do. So that's the type of small creativity. And of course, it gets deeper and more complex later on.
Wow, that's interesting. So like you mentioned on Google, I mean, Facebook is not working very well, like with exclusions, right? Like Facebook is like when you try to kind of like I don't know, maybe it changed. Like last time I tested it, like was years ago, when we would evaluate the data, and then some of the states we would see the best sales, right? Okay, let's show ads only to these states, and then it would just like it wouldn't perform very well. Google is different from this standpoint. Like if you do specific exclusions and you show your ads, let's say to your best performing states, best performing countries, you do all of this kind of like
so Google has always been good with this. For example, when Facebook was very bad with day parting, now they're getting better at that with budget scheduling and stuff like that. Google was always good with day parting. You can actually see the hours in time, especially with search campaigns, which is their main driver of revenue. You could see the states, you could see the times, you can see the devices, and really remove them, and you will see an increase in results. Sometimes even very dramatic or immediate. The next day you're gonna see just like an increase of like 20% in ad spend, or like a decrease in 25% in CPA, definitely. I just think that the big issue with Facebook, and this is something that happens with Facebook and with native platforms like the top two, for example, Taboola and Outbrain, people are trying to take whatever is working and implement it into that campaign. And that makes complete and perfect logic because you're saying, okay, my rep is giving me the white list of publishers in Taboola and Outbrain. I know exactly what my competitor is running, so it's basically a shortcut because I don't have to spend money. I don't have to start exclude or remove and stuff like that, publishers or ads and stuff like that. And we see time and time again that it doesn't work like that because the algorithm is so sophisticated. And I've been on calls with the algorithm team in Taboola a few times. I really tried to understand how that works. And what I understood is that they basically created a monster. It's almost like the stock market. They do not know how it works by now. So it's very,
Sure.
very complicated. The only way is to understand that every campaign, every pixel, every account, every set of creatives, and every product, and also every funnel, if you're running advertorial quiz directly to the product, you're gonna see different results. Even with Facebook, it's different types of campaigns. If you are using a tracker and you have like an affiliate style, tracker like volume, red track, these kinds of trackers, you're gonna see different results if you're running ASC, which is the Advantage Shopping campaign, versus ABO, CBO, just like old manual campaigns. And you're going to see one funnel sometimes is outperforming the other with ASC and the complete opposite result with other stuff because I think it's like a different algorithm or something like that that happens. So
Mm,
what I believe in is that, yes, lots of people are saying, there is the conception that you need lots of creatives. And then there is the conception that says you just have to spend lots of money and make sure you invest lots of money. In my opinion, in my experience, 95% of campaigns that fail, especially on Facebook, are campaigns that never got the chance to to stabilize. So Facebook
mm,
needs something like 50 conversions a week. People don't understand the budget to cost the cost of the product. So basically, if they're selling their AOV is $100, sometimes the daily budget that they would put down is 2, 3, 400 because they're afraid of losing money. And what happens is that you're basically rolling the dice at the casino because you're not allowing the system enough data. And what happens is that usually the campaign either fails from the get-go, from the beginning, or it has very good 1 to 3 days where the CPA is amazing and then it drops. And the
yeah,
reason why it
all the time,
drops
all the time.
all the
Yeah.
time, and the reason why it drops is that the system, the platform understands that if you gave it a certain budget, for example, 500, that means that you allowed it at the very least the chance to get 12 conversions on that day. And what happens is that it goes on the first discovery and exploration mode. It gets you five, six conversions. And then the algorithm is so sure that you gave them enough budget that it says to itself, okay, I'm underperforming. I'm driving $100 CPA where I'm supposed to do 50 or 40. So it goes on an exploration mode. It goes into like different genders, different placements, different age groups. And that's where you see the CPA sink. You can't
Mm,
allow the same budget for a $20 product as the same as a higher ticket, for example, $200. And that's why if you ask people to compare different campaigns that worked for them or not, you're going to see that the lower payout campaigns, if you're an affiliate, or the lower AOV or cost to consumer products are usually the ones who are better, just because it takes less, patience and courage and potentially losing money in order to stabilize them.
interesting. So it requires like, I mean, if you want to advertise and if you want to like grow your business, if you want to go kind of big, right? Like you have to have this kind of mindset that yes, initially you might lose some money like advertising. You just have to be ready for it, right? Like
Yeah.
not to expect that like from day one you'll be profitable and you'll be consistent until you're like, you can sit on the beach and like in Mexico drink like pina coladas.
Yeah, I always say that On one hand, you see lots of people are getting into the industry because they saw someone on YouTube, and it's always the coconut in Cancun and passive income dream and stuff like that. But they forget that it takes a lot of risk, and if it was easy, everyone would do it. On the other hand, I do see a kind of like a correlation between a gambler's mindset and media buying. Lots of times when we get into setting up the campaign and publishing it, we are super excited. We have a lot of creatives. We want to test everything. We want to test ASC, ABO, CBO, and we don't really have the budget for it. So what happens is that we take a very small budget that's not enough to begin with, and we
Mhm.
split it between a lot of creatives, lots of different campaigns, and we're really shooting, without aiming anywhere, basically. So, I mean, you and me know that 5 years ago, 6 years ago, you could have pressed on the keyboard like this and you would have printed money. You could have like take melatonin and slept on the keyboard and money would print out at the night. You didn't have to monitor. If you lost lots of money, you knew that you can bring it back. Nowadays, people have to look at things as a business. If you and me were to set up an ice cream shop, I don't know, DIY product shop or anything, which was like a brick and mortar, really physical store, we would have had to pay a salary. We would have had to renovate it. We would have had to pay for inventory and stuff like that. People have to understand that nowadays, if you're looking to go on the white route that's going to make money potentially consistently throughout a period of time, you will have to go through that roller coaster. And sometimes we have mutual friends that have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars losing them every month for 2 years because they believed in the product. They knew that it's going to make money, and they knew that they have to reach a point where they can, for example, negotiate with the manufacturer to drop the price, and then things would make sense. So it's lots of math, and it's lots of courage, and it's a funding game. You have to fund it.
Mm. And at the same time, yeah, it's probably our common friends, right? Like who's making like 70% of his revenue, like in Q4. Um, like so
95%.
95, yeah, it's crazy.
95% of the profit, and 80%, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's crazy, right? The mindset there. But I mean, at the same time, if you're building business like this, you have you have a very high like barrier of entry. So someone who would want to compete with you would have to compete on the same terms. They can try to compete with you, but like they won't be able to, because like just from the economics, just from the perspective of how much money you've spent, it just like will be very hard. And so you're creating the barrier of entry, that moat, that will be harder for you to for other people to replicate.
Correct. Yeah, it's a balance game. I always say, like, if you're going to enter a niche, a type of campaign, an industry that's very easy to get into,
Yeah.
consider the fact that it's also easy for other people. If you are going to play a very hard game where you actually have to develop a product, whether it's physical or not physical, then it's going to be extremely hard for other people. Regardless, we see it over and over again. People are looking at the product. They think that if someone is spending lots of money, then it must be profitable. They spend some money. Sometimes they even reap their ads. They launch and they lose money over and over again. Sometimes they try to drop ship it. Sometimes they try a very low quantity. Um, and this always exists, and it's okay. I mean, if it works for someone, I don't believe, because I know the numbers, but if it works for someone, then great. But at the end of the day, even, by the way, there's lots of research that goes out of digital marketing and in internet marketing in the internet world, that really they wanted to see kind of like black hat approach versus white hat approach. Everything in life that's a shortcut in business, at the end of the day, the white hat approach always makes more money. Yes, it takes more
Mm.
time. Yes, it takes more courage. Sometimes it takes deeper pockets. And I'm not even talking about the whole spiritual or psychological aspect of it, where you're happier. But
Mhm.
yeah, definitely build and look for a real product. If you're looking for a quick shortcut, usually you're going to spend your resources, and the most valuable one would be time, and you're not going to be able to make any money out of it.
For sure, for sure. So what's I know one of the things that you're good at. So TikTok, you're also spending some good money on TikTok, right? TikTok ads.
Yeah.
So was TikTok kind of like your perspective on TikTok as advertising platform compared to, let's say, native, or compared to like Facebook, compared to Google, in terms of the like scale potential? Like how do you see it compared to those main
Yeah,
ones?
I think that, okay, so I think that there are lots of pros and cons to every platforms if you compare them. Like, for example, TikTok probably is the hardest one to scale. Not
Mhm.
because they don't have the traffic, not because of the amount of competitors, just because the platform and algorithm is so premature, it's so primitive, it's so young that it doesn't support raising budgets unless you have a very, very, very big margin.
Mhm.
So that's the first issue that scaling with TikTok has. The other issue would be policy. I think that in terms of policy, they have the strictest policy by far. Like, Facebook is more loose nowadays. You can do lots of stuff there. Google is kind of like in between. It makes more sense. Native platforms like Taboola and Outbrain would actually give you feedback on what to correct. And TikTok, I've seen crazy stuff that goes up and down there, completely white hat e-com stuff that's supposed to work. Um, so that's very hard, because even sometimes when you have a campaign that's working and converting, it would go down because of policy after 6 months that it's been running. So crazy stuff. The big benefit that TikTok has, and this is after really measuring lots of stuff, the combination between the low CPMs there
Mhm.
and the type of audience and the quality of audience. And I'm separating quality from type of audience because it's two different things. Quality is basically the conversion rate. These are people who are usually not on Facebook, not on Instagram. It's a new social media audience. It hasn't been scammed as much, and
Uh-huh.
it's a younger audience. So it tends to, and we see it time and time again, it tends to go and research. They are doing price comparisons all the time. So the biggest thing is, if you're running any type of retail or e-com on Amazon, Target, whatever, the other websites, eBay, wherever the results on Google's organic page would be, you can see that you're gonna get the biggest uplift on TikTok time and time again by far.
Wow.
After TikTok, you would see it on native ads, and that's only if you publish on premium publishers and remove the push traffic and arbitrage websites and stuff like that. That's where you're going to see a very big uplift. And then you have YouTube. But Facebook would drive the lowest uplift. Again, it's very big. It's a premium platform with premium traffic. But TikTok by far has, if you're going to see a very big uplift for sure with branded search and with Amazon.
This is so interesting. Like you said with TikTok, and I know a few of my friends, they literally, that's their business model. They have TikTok, either it's TikTok organic on a scale with like hundreds of creators just posting, and then they have a link in bio, they have Amazon link, and they just like able to scale their businesses to like multiple 8 figures this way, or even like 9 figures. And the other way is just like as you said, TikTok ads. So let's say you have Amazon, your product is available on Amazon where you have the reviews. Obviously, people trust Amazon. And then you have TikTok as basically top of the funnel awareness channel. I mean, cost per click on TikTok versus cost per click on Amazon ads is, cost of,
Yeah.
it's a lot cheaper to advertise on TikTok. But kind of like having this like almost like a, and then you said branded retargeting and stuff in on
Yeah.
Google, kind of like you creating the whole ecosystem. And like I think that's a way to run business. Like you said, like 2 years ago you could have just, okay, you have a good funnel on Facebook and just you drive traffic, you're profitable front end. These days you need to have the whole ecosystem. You need to have email on the back end, SMS, you need to have Google, you need to have top of the funnel channels, you need to have retargeting, you need
Yeah.
kind of like have the whole ecosystem created.
And it's crazy, people are, you're completely correct, and I couldn't agree more. There are still people that are running top of funnel campaigns without bottom of funnel. There are still people that are running Facebook top and bottom of funnel without remarketing on YouTube or TikTok or even natives. Um, it's completely stupid. They're leaving money on the table. I know that that's like a cliche to say that, but at the end of the day, with good bottom of funnel campaigns, with good search remarketing campaigns, which means that if a person entered your website and goes and searches for other brands or your brand or something like that, they would see you. With just like the whole, you said it, ecosystem, from SMS to email, from looking at the ad on TikTok and then seeing on YouTube to remind you. If you know your numbers, if you know that the average time that it takes a person to see your ad before purchasing, for example, would be 5, 6, 7 times, then you can always cap the amount of times that the person sees that in a week, in a month, and then make sure that this person converts. So yeah, it's something that definitely is um, like in terms of like the account structure and everything. Yeah, I'm a big believer in that thing. And also, if you have a physical product, at the end of the day, people feel more secure with buying on Amazon because of
Yeah.
the seller protection and stuff like that. The only main issue with what you said is the attribution. That's the stuff
Yeah.
that people really, and that's, some people are delusional and they're trying to solve it. And I always tell people, if you manage to solve it, listen, your product isn't that e-com shit that you're selling. It's that solution that you solved, because people, they want to get the Amazon thing into the Facebook ad, but they want to see where the Amazon sale came from, and they also want to feed the Facebook algorithm. So
Yeah,
they don't get that, and they don't get that. But yeah,
for sure. I just dropped your Instagram, so for people that want to connect with you, this is Maor's
yeah.
Instagram.
Can you also drop my OnlyFans?
Yeah, sure. Can I get like affiliate commission or something?
I'll get you the 10% for that. Yeah, for the really kinky stuff, 15.
uh, we had a question here from Siban. If you had any success with demand gen?
Oh yeah, definitely. Demand gen is amazing. So I don't want to sound old, but back in the day, demand gen was really split into kind of like different stuff. So you can actually choose Gmail traffic and stuff like that. And now it's the evolution of discovery. They haven't just changed the name, they're changing a bunch of stuff. Yes, I have had lots of experience with that. And honestly, I think that because, I mean, Alex, you look like an iPhone guy. You have an iPhone, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, so I'm an Android guy, so I'm like a rebel. Like everyone buys PlayStation, I have an Xbox. Everyone has a Mac, I have a PC, and everyone has an iPhone, I have an Android, and I'm a really big Google fan. So for me, when I see the certain placements on the Chrome browser and on the Discovery home screen, it really gets me creative. I feel like 80% of the secret sauce to Dimension would be the ad. So I like
Mm,
to get inspiration from websites like that talk about travel and reward points, like the Points Guy and these kinds of stuff. And if you manage to dial in a true article that has some meat in it, meaning it gives actual or delivers actual value, and you can generate a headline that balances something that's clickbaity and enticing with the Google policy. So, for example, the Points Guy would do, I've tried 20 speakers and this one changed my life. Here's why I would change. Here's
mm,
why I would stick with the new, Razer, blah blah blah. For example, or I stayed at 20 resorts in Cancun. This by far is the one that after I stayed at this resort in Cancun, I decided to cancel on all of the other stuff. I'm not a copywriter or a creative guy by any chance, but these kinds of stuff. If you manage to dial in the image with everything, I think the biggest advantage that a company like Google has is the resources. When you put the images, the videos, the headlines, the descriptions, the long and short descriptions inside the ad, Google actually makes something out of it. So it rotates them, but it also, the algorithm knows how to identify very small signals. That's the first secret sauce to dimension and campaigns in Google in general. The other secret sauce and big interesting thing would be micro conversions. So usually what people do with Shopify, if they have Shopify, they implement the Facebook app, and that gets you all of the micro conversions, add to cart, initiate checkout, everything. With Google, people just implement the purchase event. And that sucks because you're losing twice. You're losing with not feeding the algorithm the whole funnel, because the algorithm actually with Google actually cares about, it is optimizing at the end of the day on the end conversion on the purchase one, but it also understands the quality of traffic. Google always cared about the customer experience. They want to make sure that if you're looking for a bike, for a
Mhm.
scooter, you enter the website, that's actually what the website gives you. And they have benchmarks. They know the conversion rate to add to cart, the conversion rate to start checkout, the abandon rate, and they actually score your website and funnel and product according to that. And
Mm.
that's going to drive lower CPCs and higher conversion rates. And just like Google is going to give you more traffic, basically. Once it gets dialed in, it's amazing. The second thing that you're losing by not implementing micro conversions is the ability to optimize without spending lots of money. So, for example, if you're running on YouTube and you know that your conversion rate from the advertorial, from the start of the funnel, the quiz, into the product page, for example, would be 50%, 30%, doesn't matter what. And you're seeing a certain YouTube channel um, that's driving 10%, you don't have to wait till it spends a few $100. You can just, exit. And these are like the two big things that impact these types of campaigns.
Awesome. And so we had some questions here. Can you please explain how to leverage one ad platform success help with other platform? So
Okay, so
and
yeah.
there's more
Oh
context.
yeah.
I mean, if I get some success in Facebook, what are the things I can take from Facebook to YouTube?
That's a very good question. So I personally believe people are trying to see, what creatives work, and they try and understand, okay, if I use this actor or this actress or this background or this text or script or stuff like that, and they try to create different variations and iterations of that video. At the end of the day, it's my belief that the algorithm is stronger than anything. So if you're seeing an ad, a creative that works better than others, it doesn't necessarily, or usually in my experience, it doesn't mean that that creative has a secret sauce. It just means that something got dialed in. Facebook got enough signals, it chose the right placement, it drives the correct CPC, things are dialed in. So lots of times people are going to try and take that winning creative into TikTok, YouTube, and other platforms, and they don't understand why it doesn't work. So the first thing is understanding that every platform with every campaign is a new beginning, a new journey. Yes, you will see some creatives that are complete losers that you shouldn't take. But in general, I wouldn't, it's just like a different type of traffic, really. People from
Mhm.
Facebook are not necessarily people that are coming from YouTube. A person, logically, if you're thinking, a person that's surfing on YouTube is probably not sleeping next to his wife or girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, and they have the ability to listen to actual music or volume or stuff like that. So that in itself, if your creatives are video based, changes everything. The biggest and easiest thing to use, if one platform, regardless of which platform it um, is converting and is working for you, other than scaling it, would be making sure that you have a bottom of funnel campaign. That means that you know already that your Facebook traffic has a good conversion rate, and you want to, even if you don't have lots of money, the trick would be not remarketing the wide audience, but taking a narrower audience, like for example, people who added to cart or people who initiated
Mhm.
checkout, that filters out. So for example, if you have 100,000 people who entered your advertorial, 50,000 people who entered your website or product page, and then you have 10,000 people who actually started the checkout process, that's the type of audience you want to start remarketing, because regardless of the publishers or anything, that traffic is going to convert.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like something that completes, the whole 360.
We had another question here from Siban. Do you have problems with kids on demand generation? I heard that many have the problem that children will click their ads.
I do, and there is a few things that you can do in order to prevent it. So one, there are lots of placement exclusion lists out there. So if you're running at like US and stuff like that, then you can start just like adding that into the account level and applying it into your campaigns. That helps with at least 50% of the cases. The second thing is, if you are going to target by age or by anything, and you remove what Google calls unknown, in my experience, that helps a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And also the biggest thing is how you take the experience and the data from other campaigns into a new campaign. So the bigger mistake is that someone would run a campaign on YouTube. They would spend, I don't know, $10,000, and they would have a few exclusions. They would add those exclusions into that campaign, and so when they open up a new campaign, for example, Labor Day is coming up, and they want to test creatives and launch, harder on Labor Day, and because they have a very good value proposition and sale and something like that, what happens is that usually the CPA is much higher, because on that campaign, first of all, it's not dialed in, but second, it goes into those placements that they have already excluded from the first campaign. So if you have a repeat placement YouTube channel, a specific video that's not doing well, that for some reason YouTube decides to target, make sure that you just exclude it on, just like the account level, so it applies on future campaigns.
Awesome. We had a question here from Labid Islam. Hey Maor, if you're going to build a funnel for hair loss product, what would you price a single product, and what would you price a 3-pack bundle? One product $20 to $40. 3-pack bundle $120 to $140.
Oh wow, that's a very specific question. So first of all, I know that you haven't asked that, but I would target Jewish people because they have a very high tendency on losing hair. But outside of that,
have good hair.
I do. I don't know why. I lost at where they gave height, and then I won when they gave the good hair. But in general, I'm gonna give an answer that's going to piss off some people, but there is no right answer. At the end of the day, it's all about A/B testing. What I am gonna give in terms of value into that question is that if someone has the technical resources, they should build a funnel per platform and a funnel per type of campaign. So, for example, if you know that you're running YouTube, sometimes TikTok or YouTube would have different AOVs than Facebook. So you want to price it at a different level, or also drive different or present different bundles into that funnel. So it's not just A/B testing; it's A/B testing within each campaign. So if you're using Checkout Champ or any platform that helps build funnels, then you want to make sure that you have different types of URLs for different platforms, and then see whatever's working. Same for upsells and downsells, by the way.
Yeah. So one of the things, I mean, yeah, we just our business also on Checkout Champ, and yeah, there's just so many variables. I'll just add from my perspective, there's just so many different variables in terms of the kind of like, even in upsell sequences, there's so many things you can like split test against each other. Do you want to upsell them more of the same product, or do you want to like sell them better product that they just bought? It's kind of like upsell them or cross sell them.
The way I see upsells and downsells is that it's not the easiest thing to test, but it's the thing that you have the most control over. because it's not going to mess up with the algorithm. It's not going to change the campaigns. It's not like bidding up, bidding down, adding more ads. It doesn't send the campaign into the learning phase again. So this is where you have comparably an easier win, just because you could get 10, 15%. I can tell you that the difference with one big product that I'm pushing between Facebook and TikTok is more than 30% in AOV, just because we tested different bundles, different price ranges. So that would be 150 and that would be 200. And I don't need to tell you what that difference in AOV allows me to do. I can just push lots more traffic. So
for sure. So just kind of the question from my side, like, how do you like, what are your favorite tools like to spy on kind of, do you like over, okay, do you spend a lot of time spying on other brands and their funnels? Like, do you go through funnels to see the upsell sequences? Like, do you make like test purchases basically? And if yes, which tools are your favorite?
So I don't think that you need a tool by now on Facebook just because of the ads library. I have a few tools. I don't even remember. Like for natives, I use Anstux and a bunch of other stuff. For YouTube, I haven't found something that's like very good that I can recommend. But in general, what happens is that I would sit down and I would research. Like if I'm doing an ED product, if I'm doing gadgets, if I'm doing lead gen in a certain field, and I would look for certain search queries and search terms and stuff. And then I would find a few of just like the generic search terms and a few specific pages that are running them. And then it's part of my morning routine. I have a lot of tabs. Like I have something like 100 or 96 gigabytes of RAM just to make sure, an overclocked CPU, just to make sure that I can sustain the amount of Chrome windows that I have. And then I refresh everything in the morning and I look at the specific pages and the general search terms. And then I look at new products, new funnels, new advertorials, and new creatives. And that's just kind of like 20 minutes inside my morning routine.
That's your morning routine. So people do like cold showers and stuff. Your morning routine is just
My morning routine is at the ads library, on the Facebook ads library.
oh, that's how it should be. That's okay. So a question from Siban. Siban is asking some very good questions. So
I feel like Siban should tip me on my OnlyFans.
do you use display on Google Ads or just leave it alone because of fraud?
No, I love display. I think it's an ocean of traffic. I think it's the probably least saturated place. I think that you need to make sure that you have a very dialed in account and pixel, and you really need to know what you're doing. People have gotten used to automated campaigns, and that is one campaign that really takes skill. I think in general that Google Ads would be the platform that demands or requires the most skill nowadays. And I think that display traffic is amazing. I think that you need to know how to do it. But once you dial it in, because it's very different in terms of creatives, very different than anything else. It's not like any other platforms. If you manage to dial it in, you're in an ocean of traffic. And a very cool thing that opens up is that if Google has lots of conversion data within that campaign or within the account, it would also allow you with display campaigns to pay CPA, meaning you only get paid when you file a conversion. So you get free clicks, free impressions. And once that opens up, I don't even exclude placements. Sometimes I even let it run with mobile apps and really garbage type of traffic that I wouldn't want to begin with, just because it's on them. Basically, they pay for that traffic. They're supposed to give me conversions. So if you manage to get to that point, it's amazing.
It's super scalable. It's pretty much like any website that would have like AdSense on it. Like that's
Yes.
Oh wow, yeah, that's like probably like
And
from the
also you can choose specific websites. You can target specific websites. The biggest thing with the display, okay, let me share two secrets from the presentation in Budapest. I have lots of them. So it's like, these are the two types of campaigns that you have to run, regardless of YouTube, but also on display. You have something inside the Google Ads audiences that is called search intent.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you can create an audience of people who searched for certain keywords. Okay, in Budapest, I'm going to share two or three more types, and I'm going to go into like advanced stuff and how I do it and what to avoid. But in general, that allows you to tap into search traffic within display. So, for example, just I'll give you the craziest example. If you're doing litigation with it, which is one of the most expensive stuff that you can target on the search network, you can actually search or target people who searched for a specific, a lawyer in Vegas, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and you can show them ads for lawyer in Vegas in display network. So that's like a big, big, big unfair advantage if you know how
Wow.
to use it.
And I mean, in that case, your cost will be significant. Like if you try to target that on Facebook or Google, I mean, you'd pay like probably like in Google search, like your cost per click will be crazy, right? But
Yeah, your cost per click would be 50, 70, 80, and then the display stuff you'd pay sometimes under $1. So it's crazy. It's almost like having a remarketing pixel on someone else's page.
for sure. So we had a question here from Fraser. I don't know if you'd be able to kind of give perspective on this. So I'm new. This is like new advertiser, just finished finding my product, making a website. Next step, what approach would you recommend with where to get ads and where to promote them? I'm selling in Sweden. So yeah, maybe any specific ad platforms that you would
Yeah,
focus on,
and
like
also the specific product. Did he say which product or something?
no, no, nothing,
It's gonna
no
be
more, yeah, no context here.
okay.
But
So I'll give a generic or general answer. In general, I would start. I don't know how Facebook is with Swedish audience or in Sweden, but I would start with Facebook because it has the highest probability of getting conversions, and if it works from then you could start expanding. But that changes between the AOV, the cost, the product's cost, the cost to consumer. Um, the type of creatives that you are able to create, it just like really varies.
mhm. Got it. So Facebook. I mean, yeah. We have some people that I know that are like just in. I mean, Swedish market just on Facebook, you can do like 300, 500 a month in terms of the revenue, and then you can expand from there. You can add other traffic sources. It's a small country, but very high, buying power country.
Yeah,
And
I
then you
mean,
can.
it's very hard to strategize because, for example, I don't know if that product has a search volume or not. If
Uh-huh.
if they're tapping into a solution that's already out there and they have competitors, sometimes you want to go with a search campaign because it's gonna give you very stable results once it's optimized and you excluded certain search terms, and you're gonna get very high value from that. But yeah, in general, Facebook is definitely a place that you wanna consider starting with.
Mhm. We had another question here from Labid Islam, and I'll answer it from my side as well because I think this is just probably the wrong way to look at it. What was your lower cost per conversion in 2024 on Facebook specifically? Um,
I'm gonna let you answer it first then.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Um, um, I mean, I don't even care. Like it's. I mean, it depends. It depends on the funnel, right? And the thought process that we have in our business is like we wanna pay as much as possible for conversion and still be profitable. Like we want to maximize our funnel, we want to maximize our upsells, we want to maximize our average order value, and in that case we just want to pay as much as humanly possible because then we just outbid other people. Like that's kind of
Yeah, I,
the thought process.
I, I feel like, I once heard someone who said that they don't care how much the real estate piece that they're buying is, as long as they can make the 5, 10, 15% on it. It could
Mhm.
cost 500 or it could cost a million, but, as long as they can make a margin on it, it's almost like asking, it's almost like looking at stocks and wanting to buy only the cheaper stocks. You're not going to buy Amazon. You're going to buy Li Auto just because it's a cheaper price. At the end of the day, 5% here and 5% there is the same margin that you're going to make. So um, don't look at it that way. Definitely, it's the wrong way. At the end of the day, you need to ask yourself, what are your business goals? So if you know that you're looking for scale, then you shouldn't look at the cost per consumer because the CPA, because at the end of the day, you can launch a campaign that's very bead cap. You're gonna spend $100 a day. You're gonna get 3 conversions, make I don't know 1,000% ROI, but it's not scalable. You're not gonna be able to scale it. So don't look at the cost per consumer as a target. You know what I mean? Like look at the bigger picture. Try and strategize on the whole thing.
For sure. And like, I mean, many of my friends, probably a lot of your friends too, and you yourself, is like we run ads sometimes at a loss. Like we run, like, let's say if we're selling a product, and if we're selling a consumable product, and we know that, let's say 40% of those customers that buy from us today will come back to us like in like 1-2 months, and will buy, and over the next 6 months they'll buy like 2-3 more times, and our LTV on
Mhm.
that product is like 3x what we are getting on the front end. Then, I mean, we'll just run ads at a loss. We'll just
Correct,
get,
correct.
we'll,
If you know the numbers for your business, nothing can break the numbers. Basically, you're a casino. You know, a casino doesn't care if you just won or lost. It knows that throughout a longer period of time, you're all going to lose, and they're gonna make their margin. They know
mm,
exactly how much they're gonna make with every game, and that's the same thing. If you have, the right numbers in place, you know how much each product costs you, what's your chargeback rate, what's your refund rate. You need to know that, and if you have an agency, by the way, that person who asked the question, a big sign of a client that you don't want to take is someone who doesn't know these numbers by heart. If
mm.
you're asking a client as an agency owner, what's your AOV, what's your chargeback rate, what's your refund rate, and they start, oh, it depends on the day, or oh, it depends on, and then you know that this person is basically
They'll tell
someone
you
you,
like,
you don't want to touch.
we need 5 extras. Why it's not 5? We spent $20 on ads. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I spent $5 and I made like $100. Now I'm gonna do the same with $1,000. No, you're not. And please, we're calling you back from Earth. If you want to land back here, we miss you.
for sure. Another question here from Timonachi Glass. Timonachi Glass. Gee, man, I mean, these guys have so interesting names. Timonachi Glass.
I wouldn't be able to pronounce them. I'm very happy that you're reading that.
I'm barely, I'm still working on my accent too. So how would you run ads for workout supplements like a GNC store?
Hmm. Okay. I mean, so with a store that has lots of SKUs like GNC, I would definitely go with the products that fit those kinds of like stuff. So, for example, Facebook is really pushing into catalog ads.
Mhm.
I would also open up a Facebook store because that's something that I've been pushing. TikTok store, very, very, very big opportunity. If you have lots of SKUs, that's a really interesting and very, it's not as easy to open up because you have to really know a rep there, and you need to sell them with papers and stuff like that, and show that you are really the owner and you're not drop shipping them because they care about the quality. But that's definitely something to do. And then you have the Google Shopping Network, definitely something that you want to test. And I would start with these kinds of stuff. So I took the question into and kind of like translated it into, if I don't have a one product funnel
Yeah.
with bundles, with upsells, what do I do? If you have lots of SKUs, because when I go into GNC, I see lots of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But let's say if you have 20 supplements, and then like one of them generate like 70% of your revenue, then what would make the most sense is like take that product, create a funnel for it, maximize the average order value, maximize the upsells, maximize all the sequences that go after that. Just use that product to get people in, and then through email, through SMS, sell people other products. but find
Correct.
something that you can use as a lead magnet, basically, to acquire customers.
Definitely. If you have a hero product, then that's definitely the way to do it. Yeah. And then you need to also make sure that your other supplements are complementing it in some way, that it taps into the same audience. ED is not the same as weight loss, and hair products are not the same as, you know.
For sure. Any specific markets like in Europe that you have seen, like you were like shocked, kind of like out of their performance, like some very promising markets for you, like in Europe specifically?
Yeah, actually, I've seen crazy results and crazy ROIs for Latin America,
Oh, interesting.
Chile, Brazil. Crazy. Mercado Libre, their eBay
Oh, yeah, yeah.
is
Uh-huh.
just like, if you look at the numbers, I think it's very interesting. And I've heard and saw some numbers from other e-com stores with lots of SKUs. Um, Crazy, crazy, crazy opportunity. Honestly, I don't know why I'm not doing something with it. Very low CPCs, very high conversion rates. It's just like an evolving market. If someone has any connections there or any unfair advantage with that geo, definitely something to explore.
Hmm. Yeah, it's like the level of, I mean, let's say if you're selling in US market, like to sell effectively in US market, for example, I mean, you have to be like very good marketer. You need to have like very good like understanding of the
And
platforms. You
also
need,
very good product.
yeah, exactly. And then your I mean your funnels, everything has to be dialed in if you want to compete on a higher
Yeah, you
level.
have 0% of like margin for errors. This is like, in terms of geos, this is the Olympics. Someone that starts there, going back to that guy who sells in Sweden, he probably will have an easier time in Sweden,
Yeah.
because with US, it's just like, wow.
Yeah, exactly. And then at the same time, like you mentioned in South America, you can probably fuck up like pretty bad, like and still make
Oh
money.
yeah, yeah. You can have like, unless you're sending to a 404, a page that's non-existent, you're probably gonna sell.
Yeah. So we had a good one here from regards David. How to run Nutra products on YouTube.
Why? You're making me laugh.
uh,
Uh,
so how would
I'll
you
let
run
you
like
answer it.
for me? We're not heavy on YouTube. So you have it on YouTube?
Yeah, I am, and I love all Google products. I feel like, I don't know if this guy is asking regarding the campaign structure, the creatives, or anything like that. So it's, for me, it's too much of a wide range of a question. I don't know where to start, to be honest.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah. If you can clarify regards David, if you can clarify, kind of give more context, like what specifically you want more to help us with, and
The amount of people who come to me, at conferences and events, and they're asking like questions like how to scale, how to run, how to make money, how to lower CPA. It's very wide ranged.
Mhm.
I like when people are telling me, okay, I've tried this and that, I got
Yeah.
this result.
Hmm. So he said he's an affiliate. So yeah,
As an affiliate, you have lots of different stuff. So first of all, how are you creating the creatives, and what creatives are running for that specific type of product? That's the first question. The second question is, how good of a negotiator are you, and how strategic wise, how good is your relationship with the affiliate network or with the advertiser? Because a big part of running as an affiliate is negotiating a price. Lots of advertisers and lots of networks
and,
don't
and, and that
know
and
the
that
difference.
comes down to like after parties, and that comes down to
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. To conferences and the elite mastermind, like you're doing. These are the types of places where you create the bonding, and you create that initial relationship, for sure. But it's more of like, the usual stuff is like, an affiliate network would give you a very low street CPA, and then if they see volume and if they see that you're serious, they're gonna ramp it up. They usually, sometimes they want to see quality and stuff like that. So if they trust you and they know that they have former experience with you, they're going to give you better CPAs from the get-go. I don't understand that, because it's really messing up with people, because they lose money at the beginning. So if they're already making money at a low CPA, then why would they need the CPA increase? It works
Mhm.
in a different way. But networks, sometimes they don't know how to um, differentiate between affiliates that are running lower quality and lower priced traffic like email or SMS, and people who are actually buying media and buying those clicks and impressions.
And so what you so regards David mentioned he's affiliate like so in this specific case he's affiliated at Max Bounty. Oh, you also have this tequila there, right, on the back.
Oh yeah, I have 4 class azules.
Oh
So
wow,
I
they
have the
have.
mezcal, I have the añejo, the reposado, and the gold one.
Oh wow, these are fancy
Yeah.
ones. So it's basically like in your experience, for example, if someone works with a platform like Max Bounty, like would you go direct? Like would you try to find an advertiser and like have a deal with them
Oh yeah,
directly?
definitely.
Um,
I mean, there are cons and pros to running with a network. With a network, you know that you're gonna get paid 99% of the times, unless you drove fake traffic and fake sales. But and with advertisers, sometimes it doesn't work. Someone can go bankrupt, and the network would still pay you. Um, and networks, sometimes they would have easier payment terms. They can pay weekly or even twice a week or bi-weekly and stuff like that. So there are like pros and cons again to it.
mhm,
But in general, if you're looking for higher margin, high CPA, then yeah, you want to go direct if you can.
mhm.
I think that networks also evolved in a way that lots of their products are theirs now. So networks are advertisers nowadays.
Oh, really? So these are their own products.
Yeah, you can go on MaxWeb and other high quality networks like DFO. They would run their own stuff.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Um, so yeah, I think this one I can understand this question. Are all stores and products the same for 20 what is that? Yeah, I think
I
it's
feel like we need Google Translate for that one.
um all
How
right.
many people are watching this right now? I don't even know.
We have 142
Oh
here, and
wow.
yeah, and we have 21 on Instagram right now.
Wait, so let me say that I also have a best-selling book. It's
Oh,
called
nice.
Unleash Your Inner Wolf. Yeah.
Someone actually mentioned that like when we just started the conversation,
Uh-huh.
someone mentioned that they read your book and they loved it.
Oh yeah, it's something I really poured my heart into. It's like 2.5 years. It's everything I learned from lots of therapy sessions, as you can see, that I've been through quite a few.
Uh-huh.
And
So
uh,
therapy,
and
therapy, like psychology, or like.
oh yeah, psychology and different types of stuff. So it's like I've been to 42 psychologists, like ever since I was in kindergarten. Like back then, they said that if you are using like black colors or something, then you need basically therapy or something. And so I learned a lot in therapy and also a lot of business development stuff. So anything from the Tony Robbins stuff that I've done to other personal development seminars. So it combines that with the experience I have with like partnerships. So it's not a tactical book. It doesn't talk about whatever
Mhm.
we talk today. It's about how to create partnerships, how to negotiate a good deal, how to maximize your time at a conference, stuff like that. And it has like personal stories. It's not a long book. It's not expensive. It's like $5.
Where people can find it?
On Amazon. Unleash Your Inner Wolf is the name. It's
Uh-huh.
also on my Instagram page, and I also have lots of free content on my YouTube channel, which is again Maor Benaim or Maor the Wolf or something like that. They can just look it up.
Unleash Your Inner Wolf.
Yeah, it's a
Uh-huh.
yellow book, yellow cover,
Uh-huh. Okay, cool. I'll drop it here if you guys wanna like check it out. Oh, it's on
and it's
Senate.
also an audible, by the way. It has like an audiobook, so if you like listening.
Uh-huh. Does it come with OnlyFans membership?
It comes with a few pictures that I sign personally from
Uh,
my private collection. It's a limited collection.
okay, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. uh, yeah, man. I think overall like mindset is mindset is something that, I mean, obviously people want to know the tactics, like, which button to push. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, how do you see yourself? Like, I mean, the self-image, how do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as someone who just like, kind of constantly starts something, never finishes? Whether you see yourself as a successful entrepreneur, and I mean, all of that kind of like confidence obviously builds over time. You have to prove to yourself that you can
Yeah.
do it. But mindset is I mean, that's literally what, like, the whole business. I always have this kind of analogy that, you know Elon Musk and everything that he created, or Jeff Bezos, like everything that he created, like Zach, everything that he created, it all started here.
Hmm.
Like, it all started here, right? He had the idea, he had the vision, he had enough balls to pursue that vision and convince other people in his vision. And that's what created all of these amazing companies that, like, I mean, if not for those companies, like, we wouldn't have this conversation today. Like, we're kind
Correct.
of like
Correct.
we're existing on the backbone, like we wouldn't have this
Yeah.
conversation here.
Yeah, definitely. Someone invents something like ChatGPT, and then the people who use it do different stuff with it. And I wanted actually to talk about mindset from the beginning. I think that first of all, you asked me if I'm a person who starts, never finishes, or really is consistent with what he does. I think that um, lots of people have an idea on writing a book, but believe it or not, writing a book is something that is very fucking hard. It
Mm.
takes a lot of time. It's a roller coaster. It's like a small therapy session with yourself. Then you have lots of developmental edits, and this wasn't written by AI. It takes a lot of time to format it, to edit it, to buy the barcode, to the serial numbers, and to design the cover and stuff like that. It's a process. It costs money, but it costs lots of time and other resources. So I'm definitely someone who's like very consistent and is focused on something. I also know how to or when to give up if something doesn't work, which I think is a very big thing because lots of people they tend to involve their ego into something and they're very committed to something that's not working. So I just feel like, in terms of mindset, I feel like I'm the strongest I've ever been. But I also agree that it is kind of like going to the gym. 5, 6, 7 years ago, if you would have asked me, inside of me, I would have told you, oh, I don't know what I would have done if I hadn't had that partner. Or I don't know what I would have done if I hadn't had that product. And every time something failed, I lost that partner, we stopped running that product, I reinvented myself and I found another thing and another thing. So with that experience, I have gained a very stronger mindset, knowing that it doesn't really matter what's going to happen. I'm going to be on my feet and I'm going to be able to reinvent myself.
How was that? Like, I mean, I know it's going into that like kind of mindset, but I mean, I've been through like I had to like rebuild myself, like mindset wise and self confidence. Like, I come from fucking, from post Soviet kind of mentality where society suppresses you. Fucking teachers are, like, stupid teachers, like in a school, bullying, all of those like experience. And so I had to kind of like rebuild myself probably at the age of like 25. Like, was that the same for you? Like, you had to kind of like rebuild the
Yeah,
confidence, or
definitely.
you were like from day one, you like from the early
No,
age,
no,
you were
no.
like,
I'm not a natural player by any chance. No, no, but by no means. I definitely had to overcome my past and my obstacles. I didn't come from a rich family. Every time I had any idea on what I want to buy or do, my very close family had told me, this is like a stupid idea, or you shouldn't do it, and this is like for this and that type of like people. So it's definitely not something that I was born with. I see it as a process. Every time I had to lose a lot of friends and find new ones, and lose that bunch of people and reinvent myself in terms of everything. So if you're looking financially, if you're looking romantically, and if you're looking at just like friendships and circles, it took me a lot of time and lots of mistakes. I think that the best two things to know is one, without accountability,
Hmm.
there is no progress to be made. So that means that if something happens, you have two options: either take the victim route and tell everyone, "Oh, I grew up in this post-Soviet area, and everyone was beating me up, and I had that, and no one taught me about financial advice or
Yeah.
investing and stuff like that." And you can take it into a different narrative and story where you say, "Oh, you know what? No one taught me that, and the people who tried teaching me that, and now I have twice or three times as much as they have, and I'm 20 years younger than them, so
Mm.
it's just like a strong happy psychological place to be, or a very weak and victimizing. So the first one is accountability, making sure that you tell the story within a narrative that empowers you and brings you into the next level. And
Kind of like
and
self
and
self talk, right? Like kind of like how you even talking to yourself.
it is talking to yourself, but I think that you have to be very careful not to get delusional, because you know
Uh-huh.
how these people on you remember, I think it wasn't America's Got Talent, but sometimes they would go on like an audition, they would start singing, and they would sing like you and me are singing, which is very bad.
Ah,
And and their story in their head is
watch
that
us, watch
they
us,
heard
watch
about.
us in Budapest. Watch us in Budapest. We'll get, we'll
But
get.
now they have a story that this person or that person was he got kicked out of many auditions, and so that if they keep on going to auditions, they're gonna make it. So
Mhm.
it's very important not to stay, or not to be delusional,
Or
for
even
sure.
like even on Shark Tank, right? Like there's some people like I mean some of it's I'm watching what the
Yeah.
some of these people come with just like cringy products. Yeah, we've been running this product for 2 years, and yeah, we lost like we raised like $10 million. We lost $10 million. Right now we're losing like $1 million a month, but this product is so it's like it's like
Yeah, it's like, and then someone tells them to take it behind the barn and shoot it, and stuff like that.
yeah. At what age like did that kind of like kind of inspiration that like okay I want to take like a different route like and kind of do
Yeah, I
something.
always knew that I want to make money, and I always knew that in order to make money, I always told my mother. I remember I told her that I think that smart people invent, and genius people know how to use things. That goes into like the
Mhm.
ChatGPT example that I gave before. So I always knew that I want to be at a spot where there is a large revenue stream that I can manipulate, which is exactly advertising. And I think that happened to me from the get go. My dad was an entrepreneur, so everything I learned was through his mistakes. And even at a very young age, I was the guy that would install the chips in your Xbox or PlayStation so you could burn games and stuff like that. So I was doing these kinds of stuff. I was always that kind of guy.
And was it something like kind of the like when you got into this industry like did you go to the event like did you go to some kind of did you meet some people that were like making a lot of money and you're like fuck it it's like if they can do it I can do it as well.
No, I was already a millionaire before I went into any conference, because I was basing it off of at that time some weight loss products in the States, and also my agencies. I had very large clients back then,
Uh-huh.
and there wasn't that much competition, so you could take a larger amount of percentage from their ad spend. So I already made my first million when I got into the conference. So when I looked at the amount of opportunities and how things are done, I wasn't looking at, oh my God, they're doing it, I'm going to do it as well. I looked at myself as a player in that field already.
Uh-huh. Interesting. And how did you start with an agency?
I was working at an agency, and then people approached me, and I was a very good sales person, and I knew
Mhm.
how to, just sell. I was building websites before, so I had like lots of experience with like pitching and how to do very cold traffic, just calling them up by looking them up online, and that was something that was easy for me, because I had a very high conversion rate. Like, if you know how to sell, if you know how to negotiate, and if you know how to connect with people, that's 90% of the tools that you need, because at the end of the day, we're in an industry that's like very unique. Because if you take someone who sells mattresses or someone who's in insurance, they know lots about their world, but they don't know about other stuff. We are in a business where we understand lots of different industries and lots of different numbers. We know what's trending. We know how to look for new products. It's very easy for us to invent ourselves. We are not, these people who write scripts right now in Hollywood. They're very afraid because AI is going to take over. People who write code are very afraid because they think that AI is going to take over.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, business and money is always going to flow. People are going to spend money, people are going to make money. And
Mhm.
we're at the niche where if you develop really high quality skills like you and me have, we're always going to be secured in terms of like work and money
Yeah.
financially.
That's how I look at it as well. It's like whatever experience, because yeah, people getting into the business like and they're expecting their first business to be successful, they want to get rich fast, that's normal, but like at the end of the day, it's not like even the first success that you'll have, but the experience that you gain and the skills that you gain in the process that will set you up. Like, okay, let's say the first year sucks. The first 2 years suck, but you accumulate experience and then you apply that experience to something that actually working and like make you like millions of dollars, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of
Yeah.
dollars. That's
The
what
thing
matters.
is that, people who listen to us right now are going to say, oh, it's very easy for Alex to say that because he can not make money for a year. He has money. His family is not going to starve. He's going to be able to pay rent or mortgage or whatever. What will I do? What do I do? And the answer that I have for these people is that if you're thinking that way, then waiting 1 year is probably not for you. You need to look for either another type of business or another solution, like a different partner that would fund it or something like that, that would help you get it up. But planning in advance, people are looking, and I'm sure that 80% of the questions that you're getting is, how do I research a product or how do I find the next product? It's not about the product. The product
Oh,
is a lot.
sometimes it's like, Alex, give me the product. I'm like, shit.
That's even worse. But in general, if that person has a plan, they know how much money they can float. They know how much time they can wait in their building their plan. It doesn't have to be written. It doesn't have to be a business plan. I never had a business plan for anything I've done, but they need to, plan it.
Hmm. And having I think what's important is having that like long-term vision for your life. It's like no matter where you are
Yeah,
right now, the technology allows like anyone to fucking get into industry like with very low like capital investment because of all of the tools that we have available these days. And
yeah,
like,
correct. If you're
yeah,
not doing e-com, you can do lead gen. If you're not doing a physical product, you can do a digital product. You are
yeah, you,
correct.
you can do services, like you can build, like you said, websites for people. You can build like write copy for people. There's so many things that you can do, but it's like if you're thinking about that as kind of like something instantaneous and not something that like, okay, I'll build these skills for the next 5-10 years to become like a savage, right? I'll become a
Hmm.
savage, and then no matter what happens, like I'll have those skills. I can apply them to do anything I want. And
Yeah.
with that longer term mindset.
I think that people are forgetting that it's very individual. It's very individual. People are trying to take it into like a template of how do you create money or how do you do, what's the journey.
Mhm.
Everyone goes through a different journey. You need to look at your unfair advantage. If your dad is a dentist, you might want to start driving leads for your dad's business and gain experience from that. For example, if you don't have a dad that has a business that you can run or help him scale, then you have friends or you have other family members and stuff like that. So you want to look at your specific unfair advantage.
Mm. Which comes down to self-awareness, like you said, like not being delusional. Okay, so maybe I'm good at this, maybe I'm not good at this. You're trying something. Okay, if I'm not good at this, maybe I need to find someone else who will help me with that part.
Correct. Yeah. No.
And that's
Yep.
what comes down to, like what you talked about, like developing relationships, developing partnerships, which will be in Maor's book, Unleash Your Inner Wolf, on Amazon. Only $5, comes with a free monthly trial.
OnlyFans, yeah.
My man, I'm looking forward to meeting you in person in Budapest. I'm looking forward to learn from you. Have
It's
some
gonna be a blast.
have some fun, and thank you so much for joining me today. I enjoyed it
Thank you
so
for
much.
having me. Yeah, me too.
Questions were awesome, most of them, at least. And thank you so much for joining. Thank you everyone for watching.